Hey everyone, just wanted to get some videos going on my Twitter page. This first video, what I'm going to be doing is just walking through some of the swings that I'm in, showing you what I use on my charts to give you a better idea of what to look for, what I look for, make you all better at finding some plays and when to get in, when to get out. I noticed that when I post charts on Twitter, I feel like the education that comes from them isn't as profound as it could be with watching somebody do this right on the chart live. So what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to try to post a video every week, just looking at different plays. I'm in hot plays for the week. I'll post a tweet asking for some chart requests, and I'll do them via these videos, just to get some educational content out there, start growing the Twitter page. So if you're watching this video, thanks for starting at the ground level with me and watching some of these videos. So with that, let's get started. I'm in WWR, West Water Resources, graphite EV battery supplier play. It's had a history of volatility and major pops on news. We have a potential catalyst next week with going to the NYSE. How much of a catalyst that is, we don't know at this point. The sentiment for it has been rising. Obviously, we have a reversal in play here. We have a downwards trend broken by a pretty nasty hammer candle here, swinging perfectly into a reversal. This is a nice little cup forming. So the reason why a cup is so important, or it tends to show a sign of strength, is it's coiling real tight, right? It's almost like a rubber band, like shooting back up. So I like to see these little cup formations, especially if there's a pivot bullish candle in the middle here too. But what I do also want to show is this is a perfect example of resistance or prior support coming back in as resistance. You saw that there was a gap down, right? And there was a couple days of us trying to break this zone again. This is the same zone that served as support last time. We reversed, right? Again, we have a former support zone kind of coming into play here. I think more so the high volume node kept us above this 415 level. We shot back up pretty quickly through this volume gap, right? There's a huge volume profile gap here that we shot right back up into. We use this as support and a slingshot pivot right back up along with the overall market. We made it above the volume price of control, which the volume price of control is pretty important because it shows the highest point of volume on this chart. This could change, right? If people are buying up here, this could become the VPOC, but as of right now, we made it above the VPOC back on March 8th and 9th. Once we made it above, it turned back into support. And these two zones here, right? So we had a support zone in late December, early January, turn back into support over here. Also confluence with the VPOC. So this is a pretty strong level of support. We just broke down into this given how weak the market was last week and a couple days before that too. But now that we're above, we've confirmed reversal here. But something tricky that's happening is we are facing this zone of resistance again. You'll notice there's a pretty large shelf, a pretty large drop off in volume profile. That's why when you see me post above XYZ number, could be nitro fuel, or we could slingshot up, or it has room to this, room to that. I'm looking at clearing a resistance level. Once we clear a resistance level, how much is in the way in terms of other resistance? So, right, we might have some resistance here. There's some choppiness above, what is that? 8-ish, right? But in terms of volume profile, this happened quick. Not a lot of action was happening here. Not a lot of people were holding these prices. So we had the possibility to just fly right through that, right? As opposed to the volume nodes that we see here, we saw a lot of action, right? We chop here, shot back down, use this and this volume profile node as support. A lot of choppiness here, slingshot back up, as you can see here, volume gap. We shot up pretty quickly through that, right? But now we're hitting another zone of resistance with a lot of things happening. The 50-day moving average is here. That's a pretty strong resistance support zone, depending on where it is in terms of price action. We have the former support coming back in as resistance. So this is a very interesting zone. Interesting with WWR and with CBAT Friday after hours, I saw a sympathy play happening. WWR ran to 693 in after hours. CBAT ran, I think, to 580 something. Something is brewing, right? It could just be manipulation, trying to get people in on Friday and dump on Monday. But given everything else that's happening in the market with stimulus hitting some bank accounts this weekend, Bitcoin we've already seen hit 60K. I'm just seeing what's in front of me and thinking that we're gonna have some bullishness in the early part of next week. So if WWR and CBAT's after hours run is an indication, I think we gap up Monday. If we gap up Monday, right? So CBAT or WWR is sitting at, I believe the last time I checked in after hours, it's like 674. Let me just make sure on that. Yeah, 674. So that puts us, interestingly enough, right above the resistance zone, right? So that's why Monday for WWR is going to be very, very interesting, because if 674 holds on the 4 a.m. open on Webull, we could see a quick move up in the morning. I have some of my limit sell orders set already. Not going to tell the price ranges there, but I have some of them set so that if I don't wake up at 4 a.m. and my suspicion comes true, I'll have some orders placed. And that's not saying this isn't a good play, I want to get out. That's just me paying myself, which we should all learn to do. But I watched Friday after hours and I saw that it went above 670-ish. And for me, that's in my nitro zone. So if I was not in this play and I get a price around 670, even if it dips, right? Even if it dips back into this resistance level a little bit, I might think about taking that play and keeping my risk short. So if you, for example, take it at 650, I'd keep my stop loss 635 just for a quick play, because it could be a short bounce back to the 50 MA and then skyrocket, right? We could get $1 out of this. Not saying that's 100% certain or even likely, but it could happen just based off of the volume profile. There's a lot of variables coming into this equation that I like. Another item I like to look at, and you'll see a lot of green lines on my chart. I set up support and resistance zones as well as boxes, like actual zones ranges. I like to show the bottom or top most of that resistance support, and I like to show the range of zone, right? Because I think that the zone is more important than the actual line, because if you start charting lines, your thinking gets very one-dimensional, like if it's above or below this line, that's above or below resistance, support, when that's not actually true. You see this chart's organic. It moves. It dips below my line. It stays in the zone. It comes back up. It even breaks out of my zone, comes back in. That's why just trading, even if you have zones and lines and trend lines and indicators, nothing's ever perfect. So more about what I'm seeing here. Like I like the MACD. It is not a perfect indicator by far. I think the TTM wave A and C combined together is a better indicator, but I focus a lot of my trading on psychology, and I know a lot of traders use MACD for seeing bullishness in a stock or bearishness. If I know that somebody's looking at this MACD and saying, wow, that looks good, because I'm looking at it and I'm saying that means other people that have the same knowledge are thinking the same thing. So I like to keep the MACD. I like to keep the RSI with power zones, right, showing bearish bearish and bullish support resistance zones. Shout out to Brady Atlas. If you haven't watched his video on RSI support and fib levels, they're on the Discord. Fabulous stuff. And it got me to switch from RSI regular without these zones to using these zones. Changed my life in terms of RSI. So if you're not using RSI power zones, watch Brady's video and switch over. Much appreciated on that, Brady. All right, so with WWR, obviously I'm bullish on it. I'm in it. We closed above my resistance zone. If that holds Monday, I think we see some advanced power action. We might even see a candle like this. I can't say that with certainty, obviously, but it's definitely in the realm of possibility just based off of the different pieces coming into this equation. Let's look at CBAT. Ran off of, I think, WWR. I think this was a sympathy to WWR, not the other way around. Let's take this off. A lot of times when I come back to a chart, I like to remove a lot of my lines and start fresh, because I could have got something wrong and new price action could tell me something different that I hadn't seen previously. I'll keep my zones though. I like where they're at. This one could probably actually move down a little bit. There's actually two zones here happening. So what I'll do is I'll take another rectangle and I'll chart that out, right? So there's two zones there. We have what's looking like body. So I like to chart off of bodies, not necessarily candle wicks. Wicks are very important, but in terms of resistance support, I feel like it's more accurate to use the bodies, because candle wicks could sometimes be outliers. Outliers are good, right? We like a little outlier pop to sell off on, but in terms of trying to find an entry, it's not as important to get the bottom, like 399 here. I would have taken 430, 458, right? Because you could have sold out on 540, right? It's not as important for me personally to look at the wicks. So what I'll do is I'll chart my support, and let me change that color. I'll chart my support based off the body. Just for me, feels more accurate. So as you can see, support back in mid to late December, early January, coming back to play all the way in March. People psychologically are looking at this and saying, that's when you get folks, oh, it won't go below this level. I'm buying here. Today, this day, March 5th, it went way below where people would have thought, but it had a lot of bounce back power. Why did it have that bounce back power? Gap fill. It had room, right? And I know that there's a wick here as well, right? But I'm just looking here. Look at this immense gap. There was still a little bit of room here. I'm not one to nitpick and think that that's a huge influence, but it came back to play. We bounced almost exactly where this gap started. On March 5th, we bounced back off of what happened on November 12th. That's why when you see pro traders saying, look left, 99% of the information you need to trade a stock happened everything to the left, right? You have to read the battle, read the history of what happened with the stock, learn the personality. CBAT is wildly volatile, right? You saw like huge swings within a week, right? Every single swing here is just massive. You could have bought at 677 and sold at 850 here. You could have bought at 650, sold at $9 here. Huge swings, very volatile. That's why I think, right, we are seeing a reversal, a bullish. This is not a bullish candle, but to me, this is a bullish reversal pivot. We saw a good confirmation of reversal categorized by the MACD starting to converge. RSI bounced off of bearish resistance zone here. So once you get below an RSI of like 30 right here, the bears are starting to say, okay, this is a little too oversold. Even the bears were thinking it, right? So that's when you get bulls charging in, pushing the RSI back into a better zone for the bulls, right? Above 30 technically is the definition of maybe a break back up, right? But I like to look at a break back above 40 to be more certain. We are seeing a little bit of consolidation. We had a nice run from the low fours up into the mid fives for CBAT. We're seeing a little bit of consolidation on this volume profile, but look at what we have in front of us. Very similar to WWR. My cost basis is pretty much right where the resistance is going to be, but we have a lot of room to just shoot right up. And in after hours, this had another run as well. I think this one is sitting at 567. So we're sitting a little bit above where we closed. We're sitting here. So we're above this little shelf we had here. So that's what I'm saying. I think CBAT again has a good possibility for a gap up Monday just based off of volume profile. We could get right up to 650 in pre-market. Whether it happens in pre-market or during the day, I think there's a good chance we see a good run Monday, Tuesday. We're going to face some pretty good resistance here, though. We had a lot of price action bouncing off of this zone combined with the 50 MA. I don't think it shoots straight up, right? No stock ever just goes straight up and stays there. There's always consolidation. I think we could get a large bullish candle at some point next week. It's also going to depend on overall market conditions. A lot of these small cap runners focus on the overall market as well. So SPY, NASDAQ, QQQ, all going to be in the mix in terms of figuring out what's going to happen with CBAT and WWR. So once we get to this resistance zone, I do expect a little bit of choppiness of price action, but I do eventually expect us to break above 50 MA. We're going to see a lot of resistance here, right? Within this zone, just based off of this support zone we had back in early February, combined with the VPOC, this is going to be a very powerful spot, right? When we get there, or if we get there, I should say, it's nothing's ever certain. Once we break above, I think we're going to see a massive run, right? Because people are going to realize, okay, CBAT's back. Like I'm thinking that now, but I look at these charts every day for a couple hours, right? But FOMO is going to start setting in once we're above $7.50, $8, and then we're going to get a pop on our critical level that I was talking about back a couple weeks ago. I was saying, oh, if we break above and sustain 950, which is right here, we could be skyrocketing, right? Because that is one of the highest prices that we have on this chart, other than the pop we had back in mid-November. But once we get above this level, the sky is pretty much the limit here. We could see another skyrocket type run. Obviously, people are going to sell out on that because there's a lot of people waiting for 950 on this. So there's going to be a lot of selling above 950. That's why it's so hard. You saw a bunch of times it tried to break here, here, here. People are saying, okay, it's getting close. It's never done it before. Let me sell out to get my profits locked. So there will be a lot of selling, right? But I do think we get, as soon as we're above like 950 and 975 and people start to see this is running, day traders start to come in. There's going to be a lot of what I call nitro fuel for this stock. But we are seeing a little bit of consolidation. That's, to me, I like that. If this would have ran hard the last 3 days, I would have been a little nervous. I like this consolidation. It's showing a little bit of pressure relief on this run. You know, with a downturn like we had, it's always good to keep in the back of your mind. This could also be just an ascending wedge in a downward trend. We could start to head back down. So that's good to keep in mind. Keep your stop losses close. I'm still in the red, right? So for me, I like the long-term outlook of this stock on a pop. So even if it does start to go downwards, my target timeline for this is not this week or next week, right? I'm willing to wait a month or two. So for me, a price level back down into the low fives won't kill me, right? I'll be okay. I won't be nervous. The time where I'll start to get a little more nervous for this stock is if we break back below 460, because that to me would confirm we're back on the downtrend. But overall, I feel confident with CBAT, especially with the news coming around. The EV market sector is starting to swing back into play as well. I'm really liking the outlook for CBAT. I know it's some people might have fears with Chinese companies. I do not. I feed off of that fear. You're getting some good price levels for CBAT as well. MACD looking good. RSI looking back in a bullish spot, ready to push off of this level as well. So CBAT's a good play in my eyes for next week as well. And NDM, this is a stock I've been talking about a lot. 3D printing play. Love the CEO. The conference call last week showed that he is not going to pander to the retail traders. Not that retail traders are anything negative, but that's just not the style he's looking for in his investors. He's giving you the no BS approach of, look, this is what I'm looking to do. It's either you're in or you're out. I like that because he is guiding this company correct. I think they have a lot of market power. You saw the strong market sentiment bounce back here. High volume, like this is extraordinarily high volume for them, right? I won't say it's like the outlier or one of the best volumes they've ever seen, but this is strong volume, confirming a strong bullish price move, very strong. The strongest bullish price move since this one's even lower too. What is this? 21%, 18%. So this is very strong and volume confirms. Yes, they missed earnings. I told you not to worry about earnings. This company has a lot of growth to do. They have a lot of cash on hand. They're looking for high-level acquisitions. There's talks. This is not a confirmation, but there's rumblings that they're in. They might be serving space materials for NASA. They're just a company that's spread out, and they're in a lot, right? So there are a lot of avenues for this company to make money. The fact that they missed earnings this time, to me, it means nothing. It might mean something to some others, but to me, it means absolutely nothing. We're seeing, again, a lot of these plays have the same sort of reversal play. Bullish candle, bounce back, strong support, V-shaped recovery, 50 moving average coming to resistance play. We have our, to me, this is like a little resistance zone here. We shot right through it before, but I think the resistance is coming back to play on this on pretty much my cost basis. I think we might get it a little bit above, more towards the 50 MA, but again, huge volume profile gap, which has a lot of room to run. So that's what I'm saying. Above like 1170, 1180, maybe even $12 if you want to give it some. We could see a nice run up until 1350. Once we get to here, I expect a lot of resistance. We might get a sharp consolidation back down, maybe to the 12.5. But I do eventually expect us to get back on this uptrend. This was just market weakness. This is a good company. MACD. Now, if you're a MACD enthusiast, feast your eyes on that. That is a very, very good bullish sign. We even see, and I'll keep this simple, some of the green bars coming back up here. That means a bullish, this is a bullish trend starting. You're seeing a convergence. You're seeing a crossover here. It looks like RSI is in a good level. I do expect us to push through RSI. This is the bull's resistance zone here. So once we get into the 55 to 70 range, or even 65, I think it is, there's going to be a lot of resistance. So I don't expect us to go straight through 50 MA, straight through 13, all the way to 15. Like, you're going to see some idiots out there on stock twits or the Webull comments, all garbage, right? Oh, we're going to 15. This is going to be 30 by end of week. Listen to none of that. If that happens, amazing, sell, right? But most likely 99% chance you're not going to get a 45% run on a day. We got an 18% there, which is great, but hit singles, doubles, right? So I'm happy if Monday we close above 1175. Tuesday maybe we get a pop, we get to 1250, something like that. Like, you just want nice strategic pops. You want to see consolidation. You want to see pressure relief. So that's why I'm excited about this. There's a huge volume profile gap, which I'm looking forward to next week. Overall, when you see me say target levels, reclaim high, in the next few months, I expect this. I'm using fib levels. So what I'll do is I'll trace the last pop down to the most recent slide, right? So reclaim of a high at 1788. You might not be scientific here. You could be off by a few cents. That's not the name of the game with fib levels. You could be a few cents off it. You just have to line up where everything's happening. And let me remove some of this so it's a little cleaner for us to look at. So you see it bounced off of our 0 fib line, recovered to the 2.36 line here. We had some consolidation, then we had another pop through the 0.382 line. So these levels are coming to play a lot. Most important fib line, 0.618. It's the most pivotal that you'll find on your chart, and you're seeing that in action here. We had a bounce off 0.618, pop right through 0.786, all the way up to the reclaim high. Reclaim high is very powerful as well. We got rejected. This could also be called a double top, right? Double top breakthrough down through support through 0.618. So if you're trading this does not look good, right? This is a long-term hold for me. I was not nervous here. But if you're trying to swing this in a few days, a week or two, this is not good. You're out here. If you got in here, you're out over here for sure. But I stayed through the downturn. A lot of traders are going to tell you that's not how you trade. You should have gotten out, buy back in. I'm still learning. So I probably should have sold out here and bought back down, right? If you're playing this perfectly, I did not. So yeah, I lost out on a little bit of money, but for me, still learning the game. This is a pretty safe bet for me. This company. We are seeing this break above 0.382, right? If we bring back the volume profile to help us out, we're above another huge node. So we could see, right? The other high profile node is sort of lining up with our 0.618. That's why there's going to be resistance here. Yeah, my cost basis is on the chart, but that's not really resistance. I think we pushed through this pretty easily, maybe a few chops here. But overall, I think we moved to 0.618 and we rest there for a little while. It's going to be very hard to break through that 13.15 price level, in my opinion. Once we're above and we start knocking through some of this volume profile as well, I think we start a clear uptrend again. This is a good company. And I know I've said that a few times, but that's how good it is for me. I really like the 3D printing angle. I think by 2022, 2023, the market cap for 3D printing, I think I saw a number of like 25 billion. I could be wrong there, but somebody correct me if you're watching this. All right, another EV play that I'm in. This is an EV vehicle, drop car, had some news. I had a replay of this come out, I believe on Thursday night, where it bounced right off of a breakout level. There's talks that they are supplying cars to the state of Georgia. There's a conference the 18th and 19th of next week for this company that they're participating in. I think we saw on my replay where it broke through like 670 something and went to like 730. I think to me, it smells of institutions getting in before that conference. There's going to be news there. I'm already above my cost basis here. My cost basis is in the 670s. So for me, we're in the green. My stop loss is pretty close under my cost basis. I don't want to lose too much off of it. I don't think we see a price below 650-ish next week. I could be wrong. We are seeing some choppiness resistance coming in on the VPOC, high volume price node, the highest we have. We might see some chop Monday. If we break through VPOC, again, I see volume profile waning all the way up to our next zone here, our gap through zone, right? We had a huge explosion through here, so we're probably going to face a little bit of resistance. Once we're above here, right? Once we're above 815, we could see a quick move to 950. Like this could be pretty quick. So if there is amazing news, 18th and 19th for this company, they come out, they're full contract with the state of Georgia, they're supplying a ton of cars, revenue is going to jump from this. Like there's just a huge catalyst. We could see a move above VPOC with good volume. We could see a pop earnings are in play. There's a lot going on with this stock right now. I think we break above VPOC next week and hold, and I think we're going to be range bound between VPOC and this semi-resistance level I have mapped out here, like 790-ish. So this could be a good opportunity for next week to get in and try to play that conference if you think that some good news is going to come out of there. With any conference, you know, expectations could be very high and it could be a dud, and then people will sell quick on you. So that's something to look out for as well. Let's look at our indicators. MACD looking tasty here, right? We're seeing a crossover potentially happening. We see RSI in a good zone for bulls. We should be pushing through this fairly soon. I do think that we are going to eventually get above VPOC, push through our $8-ish price level and get another pop, right? I do think we get another pop above $9 here, just based off the power this reversal could have if the reversal continues as well. And I just noticed that I started to show you what I do with fib levels and I got sidetracked. So let me show you on this chart, sorry. So we're seeing a push through these various levels, right? Obviously 0.618 is going to be our most pivotal, but reclaim high is 1150 on arrow. When I say it within a few months, I'm looking for the 1.618. So I do think, right, if we take away some of this other junk, even volume, I'll trim it up real tight for us here. If you just zoom out and look left here, you're seeing pops, consolidation, pops, consolidation. So we're probably going to consolidate here for a little while until we break above VPOC, go to the 0.618 fib level. But you're going to see another pop with some EV news, right? Whether we get 1150 or above, it depends on where the pop starts from. So if we again start from this sort of level between like $6.75 and $7 range, you could start to use the looking left, the 1150 price range here to judge where that reclaim will be. But if you pop off of like an $8 price range, you'd expect this to push above that reclaim, just based off of the market sentiment that happened previously, how strong the catalyst was. There's a lot to go into that, but I would look for where you're popping from and where you popped from before. So always look left on judging how strong this pop might be when we get through there. But that's how I look for whenever I say by summer, within the next few months, by the end of the year. By the end of the year, my number there is typically the 2.618. If we do start to trend up, consolidate, pop, consolidate, right? You could sort of map this out throughout the end of the year to try to get to that 22.78 price level. This is not exact. This is not precise. You can't judge these to say by December 31st, we're going to see $22. I don't like saying that. I just like to give ideas and things that could happen so that you're prepared and you could jump in when necessary. I already talked about the MACD here. This is looking great. Let's do this. Let's go to Candy, another EV play. I'm heavily in the EV space right now, which I might be too concentrated on EVs, but for me, I see a market sector swing coming. So I'm trying to get prepared there. So notice, right, very similar, I think, to CBAT. So look at this. Reversal off hammer candle, pop, consolidation, back to CBAT. Very similar, right? EV market for small caps, very, very sympathetic to each other. So again, I do think we see, we bring back volume profile, 50 MA, and let's keep those on there. Those are my go-tos, volume profile, 50 MA, and my resistance zones that I map out myself here, right? So again, we're seeing this was a support zone. Consolidation is happening within that zone again, right? So this is coming back into play. Very important to map out your zones and watch what happened previously to try to figure out what's going to happen in the future. The best traders are able to see this happening and predict it, right? With good certainty, not 100% certainty, but they know, they've seen enough to know what could happen here. I don't think we stay consolidating here very long. I know we have a good volume profile shelf here. I think we push through that think we pushed through that pretty quickly and pushed through this volume profile gap back to our resistance zone at near $8. We are going to chop here for a while. There's a lot of price action that happened here. Huge VPOC convergence with my cost basis, obviously. I do see us staying with this resistance level for quite a while. We could be consolidating for a few days, maybe a week or two here, unless we get some amazing news in the EV market as a whole, or CBAT or WWR, or another company gets some great news. We could push through and pop through a lot of these. Like I said, they're very sympathetic to each other. Candy's an EV vehicle maker, CBAT's a battery supplier, WWR is graphite to supply the batteries. Like, there's just a lot moving with the EV market right now. If we zoom out, look at my indicators, MACD showing another good crossover could be happening here. This is actually very good to see. You're seeing a nice tight swing back upwards. RSI, I wouldn't put too much thought into the RSI coming back down here, because a lot of times you'll see you don't go straight through this first zone here. Let me zoom back out here. This time you did, right? And that's a bad example here, but a lot of times you see something like this, or this is actually a great example. You'll see a pop through it, come back down, pop through it, try to break through, failed. This one actually broke down right back under, right? But the more times it pops against this RSI zone, the better chances that it pops through. So we are not there yet, but I do see this sort of forming, right? You could sort of map this out. You could see this popping downwards, breaking, popping through eventually. Especially where we're at in price level. Like, we haven't seen these prices since, we haven't seen a bounce off of these prices since early November, right? And before that, we had it in October. So we had a tremendous downturn here. I do think we popped back through. I think eventually we will get above this volume profile shelf at like around $9 and start to move up pretty nicely into the 10s. Whether that actually happens in the next few days, weeks, months, who knows? I don't think it'll be in the next few days. I think it's going to take at least a month or two to get back into the 10s. But I am very bullish on the EV market as a whole coming up in the next few months. But okay, this was my first foray into showing you how I look at charts. You know, nothing I say in this video is telling you to buy a stock or to sell at a certain price level, no matter what my cost basis is. I don't sell at my cost basis. Nothing here will give you an indication of, you know, where I'm getting in or out. I will often say, if I was here, I would do this or that. It's just my thoughts. I will be posting these more often. I want to create a Twitter page that is followers first. That's my motto. I want you all to learn. I want you all to be able to be protected in the market and not just gamble. Gambling is bad in the stock market. You will almost always lose. And also feel free to ping me or DM me with any questions that you have based off the videos, based off of any charts that I post. I'm here for you. This is fun for me. I don't trade with huge amounts. I am not $1 million account. I'm just a regular guy trying to learn this and trying to spread whatever I'm learning based off of the pros like Brady, Spaghetti Code, SD, Ripster, PJ, Zach, all the Atlas crew. Forget what anybody's telling you about it. They give you a lot of education and they're teaching you how to fish. If you are complaining that they are pumping, you are not playing the game correctly and you are not learning. You're trying to follow and gamble. So that's just my 2 cents on that. But I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be posting these regularly. I'm going to try to gain a little bit more of a following, get more people to learn from me, learn from the other pros as well that I follow. And thank you for watching. And if you like this video, just make sure to like the tweet. I'm going to try to get these on Spotify at some point as well. Maybe not Spotify. I don't think Spotify has the ability to post videos. I'll probably try to get these on YouTube once we get a little bit more of a following, but make sure to share this. If you like the video, make sure your friends follow as well. And thank you very much.